All right, here we go with Hansen and Quinn Unit 10. We're going to work a few of the exercises. Starting with number 6. O sophron thugater, me adikeses pes thesa tois tutu kaku hebeos logois. Egard pot aiskra poieseas, utoi timoi tawan hemeter. So let's start taking this apart. So this is the vocative of thugater. Okay. You can see it's just the stem. And this is the vocative of sophron. So, oh, prudent daughter. Now let's look at the clause here. Well, the main verb is adikeses. And that looks like a second person singular aorist subjunctive active. And so this aorist subjunctive along with the may is a prohibitive subjunctive. So it's aorist. Don't do wrong. How about that? Don't do injustice. And then this pes thesa is, look, this here. That's the stem from the sixth principal part of patho. And then this is a feminine nominative singular ending. Okay. It agrees with the subject of adikeses. That's that daughter there. So the passive, it's aorist passive. The passive of patho, be persuaded. So aorist passive, having been persuaded. Having been persuaded, and then this, the tois, okay, that's dative plural. Let's find its noun. It's logos here. So that all goes together. Having been persuaded by the words, that's a dative of means or instrument. Having been persuaded by the words, and then this part, those are all genitive. Having been persuaded by the words of that bad horse guy, that bad rider. Okay. Notice this is the genitive singular of hippeus, which works like basileus. Cool. So let's go on to the second sentence here. So pot, it's always a good practice when you have a word that's elided like this to know what's missing. It's pote. Okay. And notice pot is enclitic, so it's indefinite, ever. All right, so we have agar plus this, which is an aorist optative active. The agar does not go together. It's a plus the optative and timoito, which is timaoita. If we uncontract it. So a plus the optative plus on. That's a future less vivid conditional sentence. That's the gar. For if ever you should do aiskra, shameful things, neuter plural. And then here's the apodosis, the then clause. Hemeter, your mother, would not, and I think that this is optative, present optative passive. Your mother would not be being, let me tell you, honored. Okay, so let's go through the whole thing again. O prudent daughter, don't do wrong. Persuaded by the words of that bad horseman. For if ever you should do shameful things, your mother would not, let me tell you, be being honored. There we go. All right, let's look at 7. This one is really kind of tricky. Let's read it first. Grapsai ho demosthenes macron logon periton en polemoi pathon ton phoberon hosta tus politas me lusai ten erenen kai per tut ethelontas poiesai erenen gard agontes sud zointon. Well, first step is, let's look at the things that are elided. This, I'll tell you now, is going to be accusative singular neuter, tuta, and sudzoint. Again, it's an omicron left off there. All right, so let's look at the very beginning of this sentence. Everything before the hosta. Well, demosthenes is in the nominative singular, so that's the subject. And then that gives us a hint about what grapsai is, because with an ending like that, it looks kind of like an aorist infinitive active, you know. But you know what it is actually the third person singular aorist optative active. Okay? It's the main verb of this main clause. All right, let's find the direct object, and then we'll start to put it all together. So, demosthenes is the subject. There's the verb, grapsai. And then makron logon, that's the accusative. That's going to be the direct object. Okay, so we have our subject in the nominative, our direct object in the accusative. We have our verb. That's our main verb. Okay, so Demosthenes. Here's a question. Why is it optative? There's no on. So I think this has to be, and it's the main verb of the sentence, this has got to be an optative of wish. Now, often with the optative of wish, we have agar, or we have aetha, right? But here, it's just by itself. So let's go. Would that Demosthenes write? I hope that Demosthenes will write a long speech, a makron logon. And then this part here, the periton and polemoi pathon ton phoberon, is, right, peri, about, with the genitive, ton pathon, about the sufferings or experiences en polemoi, in war. And then in attributive position, we have more about the pathon, the frightening ones, the scary ones. All right, so would that Demosthenes write a long speech about the sufferings in war, the scary ones? And then we have this next clause, hosta. So we have a hosta, and then if we look at it for our verbs, for our verb, it's me lusai. Lusai And this is, they've gotten very tricky here because they give you gropsai here, which is third person singular aorist optative active. But lucai, that is the aorist infinitive active. So hosta plus the aorist infinitive active gives us a clause of natural result. Okay? And since it's an infinitive, its subject is going to be in the accusative. So tous politas is the subject, right? Lucai is the verb, and I think the direct object, also in the accusative, is ereinen. So as for, translating these clauses of natural result is always tricky. But so as for the citizens not to destroy the peace. Kai per tuto athelontos poiesai. The athelontos is a present active participle modifying tous politas. So, although wanting to do this, another aorist active infinitive, poiesai. Okay? So this participle, athelontos, masculine, accusative plural, agreeing with politas, is a circumstantial participle. Remember that because it's not an attributive position. And the kai pair lets us know that it's concessive, although wanting to do this. All right, let's finish it off. For agontes, now that's another present active participle, but now nominative, plural masculine, for conducting peace, for keeping peace, sodzointa on. Again, our main verb here is in the optative. We have the optative, but now we have an on. So this is present, optative, middle or passive. I think it's passive. For conducting peace, they would be saved. For keeping the peace, they would be being saved. The idea of a present optative in there. For conducting the peace, for keeping the peace, they would be being saved. This circumstantial participle, agontas, I think, is serving as the protasis of another future less vivid conditional sentence, right? Usually future less vivids are a plus the optative, and then in the apodosis, optative plus on, right? But instead of our a plus the optative, we have this circumstantial participle. So we might want to translate this for if they should keep the peace, they would be being saved. Or we can stay with for keeping the peace, they would be being saved. All right. Oh, man, this is a long one. Number 10. Alethos de eudaimon he tois getes poleos nomois pethomene kai hama tonta patera kai ten metera timosa kai tois theois thusias agusa kai me adica pote pepra quia. All right. So the subject of this is one of those sentences, I believe the book calls them nominal sentences, where it's sort of like blessed are the meek, eudaimon, hey, blessed is the one. But instead of a noun here, we have blessed is he pethomene, kai timosa, kai agusa, kai me pepraquia. Okay? So instead of a noun, we have four participles. So, indeed, truly blessed is she, And now we have to deal with all these participles. She obeying, present middle participle. Remember, the middle of peitho can mean obey. So she obeying tois nomos, the laws of the city. And at the same time, timosa, that's contracted from timausa, right? And at the same time, honoring ton patera, the father, kai tein matera, and the mother, and agusa, and conducting thusias, sacrifices tois theois, to the gods, and me pepraquia, there's that perfect active participle from prato, okay, and not ever, that's the pota, indefinite, because you can see it's enclitic, it has no accent of its own, and never having done adika. Note the extra accent that adika is getting from the enclitic that follows it, and not ever having done adika, bad stuff. Okay? Notice that pepraquia, we have this may, and if you think back, may with the circumstantial participle pepraquia means, is this circumstantial participle? I think it is. May means it's generalizing. Okay, so me pepraquia, so it's not like that girl over there who hasn't done unjust things, but it's she who has not done unjust things. Okay, so let's look at the whole thing again. Truly indeed, blessed is she who, and now we know it's generalizing from this may that's coming up, who is obeying, she who obeys the laws of the city and honors at the same time her father and her mother and conducts sacrifices to the gods and hasn't done bad things ever. For haute, from hutos, right? For this person, let me tell you, okay, is hutophile, is so dear, kai theois, both to gods, kai anthropos, and to men. She's so dear, and now we have this host, which is hoste, right? And then we take off that final vowel before another vowel. And then the tau turns to a theta before the rough hoop. And then the same thing happens with hoof, right? It's hoopa, and we lose that last vowel before the next vowel. And then the P roughens to match the rough breathing, okay? She's so dear that she is in fact honored hoop aponton by everybody. All right, last one. Tus entele doron grapsometha hoia paratus nomus tatu demu klepsantas host enikato hepolis. All right, so the main verb is grapsometha. If you look at that, that's subjunctive. First person either middle or first person middle, plural, aorist, subjunctive. So first person plural, aorist middle subjunctive of grapho. We know that the middle of grapho often means indite. So why is it subjunctive? Well, it's an independent use of the subjunctive, so I think it's got to be hortatory. So let's indict tous entelle. Let's indict the guys in power. And then here, doron is genitive plural. That's our genitive of the charge. So let's indict those in power for bribes. Okay. And now this Hoya shows us that we have a causal participle coming up. Where's that participle? There we go. Klepsantos. And it modifies, it's accusative, plural masculine. I think it modifies these guys. Okay, so since they stole, because having stolen, since they stole, what'd they steal? They stole, tatu demu, they stole the stuff of the people, and they stole it para tus nomus. Para plus the accusative can mean against, so against the laws, they stole the stuff of the people. And now, since this is our theme in Unit 10, we have another hoste plus a finite verb. So we have a clause of actual result. Okay? With the result that the city, enikata for enikata, which is imperfect, passive, I think, with the result that the city was being conquered. The end.